Hello, I'm sorry for the late, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible? Hello, ma'am.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Yeah. Yeah, good evening.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening,
How are you doing?
ma'am. I'm doing quite a good, and I just had my dinner. That's why I just got late. Yeah. What about you, ma'am?
Yes, I'm doing well too. Thank you for asking. So, I believe it's our first session together, correct?
Yes, ma'am. It is our first session.
Yeah. So, could you tell me what issues you face while speaking in English that brought you here?
Yes, ma'am. Surely, basically, it comes for confidence. Uh, Sometimes I don't know, but sometimes I am able to speak like at least in a good manner, like the fluency or the grammar or some all the uh, speaking part or listening part they go very well. But at the same time, uh, I face those repetitive issues like speaking, thinking clearly, or delivering the exact idea that I am like thinking. I'm not able to transport those emotion or feelings to the next person. So these basic problems are keep means like after knowing all those mistakes, after try to rectify those, try to fix those mistakes, but still I'm doing that mistakes. So yes, ma'am. So these are the problems. Like it's plaking majorly on confidence. Obviously, confidence is actually related with the speaking part. If I'm able to communicate properly, then the confidence slowly. What I have noticed that whenever I at least I do the starting very well, then automatically the confidence get boosted up. But at the same time, when those starting I start messed up in the starting. So exactly those like also I can feel right now that this is also happening right now.
I figured out what are your issues already. So, what I will suggest is that we first go ahead and have our session discussion. That way, we will be able to maximize our session time in you speaking. And then, once that's done, towards the last few minutes of the session, whatever suggestions or whatever tips are to be given, we can talk about those at that time. Okay.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
So, I think today we have sensory loss or loss of sense organs as our topic. It's a very creative topic. So let's see. Um, According to you, which is the most important sense?
So I can vouch for that. For me, the most important sensory organ may be eyes. I don't know eyes are coming into that category or not. Yeah. So eyes are basically all the honestly all the sensory organs are important equally. But for me, only eyes are more important because uh, it's a simple fact that God have created all those not like nature have all those beautiful things to observe or there are lots of beautiful things that you can just you are placed to like watching those things or at least you are able to observe those things. So sometimes I am thinking I used to think that uh, s- uh, like what if that I don't have eyes or at least why think I come to think about that in my family there is a maybe in relation he maybe my will be my nephew and not my immediate nephew but in some extended I belong to a vast family family. So somehow he becomes my nephew. So he actually lost eyes from his from his birth. So that's why I closely relate with her. That apart from that, I don't have that much disabled person in my family. So only uh, hello, hello, ma'am. Ma'am, am I audible? You're mm, hello, hello, ma'am.
Hello, hello. Am I audible? Hello, hello.
Yes, ma'am. I don't know why we got disconnected, but yeah,
Yeah,
now it is
I
okay.
yeah, I just heard about your nephew. After that, I did not hear anything.
Yes, ma'am. So I was talking that, ma'am. But there is not more person in my extended family that they are disabled or physically handicapped. But I can say only for that my nephew that I can relate to him that he don't have eyes from his birth. So that's why I used to think that whenever I have a chance to see him and I just visit to their place, I just somehow got to that feeling that what if someone like what kind of problems he is facing actually by looking at those things. I just come to realize that why eyes are so important for any of us. That's why that is why I don't know. I am quite little biased for this sensory organ a lot, apart from other four. So yeah, for me, sensory organ for like eyes are the most thing that at least one should have, to at least witness the beautiful things in the world. Uh, yeah, that's why.
Yeah, understood. Mm, see, every individual's life is personal, so choices are just a manifestation of personal experiences. So it varies. Like if you ask me, for me, it would be years, for a very different reason. So yeah, every
Okay.
individual has different reasons to make the choices that they do, including choosing the sensory organs. Yeah. Now, see, arguably, which is the least important sense?
Okay. So it is quite funny. Like as I said, that all the sensory organs are actually equally important. But if we are talking about like arguably, then maybe taste buds like our tongue. This is cause this is actually least important as compared to other four, because there is a very much basic logical thinking. Because if someone has the someone don't have that ears, then he is going actually he or she is going to actually face a lot of problems. Like the world is actually like in this globalization era or in this social media era, it is quite become so much important of speaking or watching things. Whereas if we're talking about sensory organs like tongue, so as long as you are eating foods, as long as you are getting energies, you can survive. But without the taste buds, yeah, are you able to survive? Yes, you are able to survive. So it is quite. That's why it becomes so like least important. Otherwise, I don't know. I don't so this is going to be so much. This is going to be a important organ in their community, in their organ community, sensory organ community. That's right.
Hmm. Hmm. If you could acquire another sense, which would you want?
Okay. Uh, okay. So there are fifth sense, as we know, but in our day to in our normally we people like something we incredible. Somehow we done something crazy or incredible, something like very much superhero type. So we usually call the sixth sense factor. So that I don't know. Maybe that sixth sense will be knowing the future or predicting something, future outcomes. So I don't know what kind of organ that will be. That sixth sense organ, sensory organ. But obviously, I want that six extra organ to see future or predict future outcomes. So yeah, that kind of organ that I want.
So there were a couple of things I wanted to correct in your answer. So should I do it now or at the end of the session?
Yes, ma'am, you can do right now.
Okay, so you can essentially say that whole part about superhero, super talent, and all, you were struggling a lot. How can you simply say that portion? Whenever, in Hindi we say jab bhi bhi. So that means whenever somebody does something extraordinary or uncommon, then people usually associate that with the sixth sense, or people
Yes, ma'am.
usually call it a sixth sense. This is the most basic form of the sentence you said. What is my point here? Rather than blabbering on and on means compounding on that error, rather than you're getting stuck, rather than continuing to speak on that same part of the sentence, if you take a pause instead, if you take a pause, gather your thoughts and then restart the sentence, chances of you being correct is significantly higher. You don't have to struggle as much. Okay, so
Okay.
sometimes it is good to realize when it is becoming too difficult for you to construct spontaneously, and when it is time to start again. Okay,
Hmm.
so that is the
Yeah.
thing. And you can
I mean,
say
it is
no con-
better to start afresh, like taking a breath and start anew, rather
yes,
continuing that
compounding on the
continuing
same
that
error.
statement, which is actually okay.
Yeah, rather
Yes,
than
ma'am. Got it.
compounding on the same error, it's better to start fresh, because you will notice every other person doing that only. Unless the person is able to rectify himself or herself within two shots. Like if once mistake, they are correcting the second time, or second time mistake, third time. After that, they don't struggle, they start afresh. That is the logic. By the third time, it is painfully obvious that you are struggling. Let's ditch it and start again.
Yes.
Our point
Yes,
is
ma'am.
to
Got
maintain the illusion. Nobody's Shakespeare here, nobody's perfect in English, okay? Not even our English teachers. What is the difference? We have the knowledge and we have the skill to maintain the illusion that we are good in English. That illusion
Okay.
is broken the more we make it obvious that we are struggling. These are some of the things that we do to keep, means, just let it slide that we made a mistake so that nobody realizes. That is how we do. It's not that none of the people who speak in English struggle. We always struggle, but we manage it in such a way that the listener does not even realize that she might be struggling, she was struggling at that part.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Yeah. Now, what would life be without any senses?
Okay, ma'am. Mm, and without every senses, like any, without any senses, like without every senses, then there would, I must say, there will be no life. I don't know. I can't able to imagine that life. How would be that life? Means if someone is not able to seeing things, someone is not able to hearing what's happening in the around of their of around his, or someone is not able to touching or feeling things, then I don't know how that life will be like. There will be darkness or there will be no sound. That life is actually not so life that we define uh, from our like childhood, or what do we know from our textbook, what actually we know from our surrounding, that what is actually life. uh, in that point, in that case, without any sensory organs, then there will be no life, I can say, because I can't imagine what a person will be like. So yeah, for me there will be no life, I can say. Means logically the person is actually living, because his heart is not actually filled yet, his brain is actually working, he can write things, but he don't know able to how to write, he don't know how to speak, if he is not if he never taught how to speak or how to write. So I don't know how that person is going to survive, but that person is going to actually survive. He is not going to live in. So that is the thing actually.
He's going to survive. He's not. See, again, this is the typical category of mistake. He's not going to living. He's not going to live. He's going to survive. He's not going to live. Okay. When this is what I mean. When you are speaking a sentence, spontaneity should never come at the cost of grammar. Okay.
Okay.
Because if somebody is of your caliber or higher, they will understand the mistake, and they in return will get confused ki are what did he say. Okay, so this is like, and these are all simple basic errors, right? These are not very complicated extraordinary English errors. These are like basic things, subject verb agreement. So these things are expected to be correct. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Speaking now, coming back to what you had said, actually, are you somebody who listens to metal?
Metal music, jazz metal. Yes, ma'am, I do.
Yeah, not jazz metal, like the rock metal. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, the rock metal,
Yeah.
heavy sound.
So, uh, essentially, there is a movie called Johnny Got His Guns. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a movie that precisely talks about this, wherein the individual is devoid of all his senses, but his brain is totally cognitive. Okay. So what he actually endures, that is very well described in that movie. So it's like it's worse than coma, essentially. So that is what the movie is about. You can have a watch. The reason I mentioned it's related to metal is because metal, a very famous song in metal, made it popular. But there is a movie called Johnny Got His Guns, which talks about this. Yeah. Now, uh, life that we define by sentences or education or with our surroundings, life as we define. Life as we define
Define.
will cease to exist. Okay, you can say like this. Mm, then if every senses are not there, if every sense is not there, you said each then every, then each then every, both cases it will be sense. If you had used all, then only it would have been senses.
Okay, ma'am. Understood.
Yeah. Now we are nearing the end of our session. We have the last couple of minutes left. Before I mention any feedback, is there any doubt or question you'd like to ask?
No, ma'am, not as such doubt, major doubt, and most of the doubt you have already like gave me the feedbacks. Like I have to start fresh if I am making that repetitive mistake on a particular topic or sentence. Then the subject verb agreement part. These are the mistakes actually, ma'am. I'm repeatedly doing, and yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. See, essentially, there are fillers in your speech as well. Like when you talk, there are sometimes that sound. Then sometimes, as I said, each senses, every senses, each senses. This is also repetition, redundancy. These are all parts of fluency. These things are happening. What I want you to do is, on a daily basis, you should do some extempore. At the end of the day,
Okay.
you, as one of the last activities, you can record yourself summarizing your day in 5 minutes or 5 to 7 minutes. You can record yourself in the voice recording app of your mobile and just do the recording, like talking about your day, when you woke up, the highlight, yada yada. You just talk about your day for 5 minutes. Then you keep that recording. Next day, whenever you have time free, first instance, you listen to yourself and make critical notes about the errors committed. Like maybe out of 5 minutes of talking, you made 30, you paused 30 times. Then you made 18 errors. Means you came to know. Okay, you just write down the statistics each day. What should be your aim? Every day when you practice that same exercise, the statistics should improve. Okay, so what are we doing? We are self assessing, we are self evaluating and improving ourselves. So by doing this, because you yourself corrected your, means you yourself did the correction, you know what you need to be conscious about the next day you record yourself. So this is an excellent
Okay.
way to improve your speaking skills and being a good critique of yourself. Okay. So this is one thing. Another thing is, start listening to English content as much as possible, especially good quality English content like news, podcasts, public speeches, documentaries, not those movies and TV shows, not those kinds of things. Those are a
Yes,
bit,
ma'am.
for lack of a better word, stupid when it comes to spoken English, because the English that is spoken not only is extremely basic but also most often times inaccurate. They themselves are speaking wrong. So, from a student standpoint, you don't learn much. So, if you listen to news and such kind of content where experts are expressing their opinions, you will come across better sentences and better vocabulary which you can use.